Now, in my little setup this morning, I talked about the real competition is ICE cars. And that's who we really want to defeat. And I think some of these price changes and whatnot are aimed more at the ICE cars than they are at the other EV cars. Not to say they don't affect the other EV cars, but I think they're aimed more at the ICE cars. But in any case, I think what you and I are going to spend most of our time on is really the other EVs, just to understand them and to help our listening audience understand which are likely to be the winners and the losers, who's doing well now, who's talking a good show, who's not. Maybe there's some investment opportunities out there. We're not investment advisors, but you might hear about one or more of these companies and go, wow, maybe I should have at least some of my portfolio over there as well. So we switched then to Ford. So now kind of the punditry, for some reason, everybody loves to love Ford. And it might be because the leadership is such a nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and he says the right things.
He says the right things. Yeah.
Sometimes.
and his first two vehicles are actually pretty compelling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ford is doing a great job making the EVs that people want, and has actually been pretty open about the whole Tesla thing, and that they can never catch up in terms of cost and efficiency of building EVs. So I think their head is at the right place. Sometimes they say something when I go like, oh man, like they're still investing in ICE vehicles, but they have to go out and say that to not destroy their own profitable business they're running right now. So that's why they, in my opinion, made Ford Blue and Ford Model E, so they can have one team milking the ICE as long as they can until they have to go bankrupt, and still do that part of the business until it's gone, and then they can try to ramp up that EV production. And they have a goal of 2 million in 2026. And Jim Farley himself have said, when Sandy asked him, what keeps you up at night? Well, that is, the ramp of these factories, because they have 60 factories around the world. They have to refurbish and retool to become making EVs and get to 2 million in only now it's only 3 years. So that's a big ramp. And as Jim Farley said, this is not a conservative ramp. This is tough for us to get to.
Yeah, and I would think maybe they're rethinking, even though we haven't talked about BYD yet, but even though BYD seems to be building a lot of little factories, I would think maybe Ford would potentially at least be rethinking re-outfitting 60 factories as opposed to maybe building a couple of 3 gigafactories.
Yeah, maybe the BYD didn't want their old factory in Europe. Might also be a good indication of where you should go. And Volkswagen was out saying as well with the Trinity platform, they wanted to build this new factory from the ground up because they saw with the Zwickau factory how expensive it was. They could have built a new factory for that price, that they had to retool the old factory, and it's not a big factory like Tesla's gigafactories. And Ford's factories are even smaller. The F-150 Lightning only have a production capacity of 150,000. So that, and they, so they and this is their car, the F-150. They really have to make this work and scale that up fast as possible. And I think people seems to be loving their F-150 Lightning. It seems like a very good electric truck, really capable. And so I think they did a great job with that truck. But they only produced and delivered 15,000 of them last year, and they started production at the same time pretty much as Austin or Berlin started their production, and they produced a lot more cars, even though there was a whole new next generation platform kind of with new structural battery pack they have to figure out and blah blah blah. So they were also almost kind of starting from scratch on those factories with whole new technology and also in manufacturing. And Ford is much more to getting this ramped up, because so many people is like, oh, the Ford is first with an EV pickup, it will hurt the Cybertruck sales and stuff like that. Nah, it's really big in the US, you know. There's a lot of ICE vehicles that is a real competition here. So there is definitely room for both of them, and especially when Ford is not ramping up faster than this. And this is the kind of the car they have to succeed with to stay alive, because that is what their bulk of their production of ICE vehicle is. That's the F-150, right? So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and then I've kind of maybe lost track. After the F-150 and the Mach-E, what's coming next?
Haven't heard much. There is the E-Transit, and I haven't heard of the next EV Ford. Not something official that they have shown us, or so. Yeah, I actually kind of hope they're going to wait a while and just focus on ramping up the Mach-E and the F-150, because they have two great cars in two of the most popular segment of cars in the US. So if they can just scale those two up like their Model Y and Cybertruck kind of thing, because there is going to be, I know many people are screaming about all the different models you need to have, but I think Tesla is a great example of that. You don't need to. And I think Apple is also a great example of that the whole product range architecture is something that Steve Jobs brought back to Apple and saved Apple.
Lars, as always, it's genuinely a pleasure to have you on my show. And your show is doing phenomenal. I keep watching your numbers just keep going up and up and up. So congratulations on that. And you seem to be taking lots of vacation. So that's good.
Yeah. Trying to relax a little bit.
Do a little relaxing. All right. Well, any last words for my audience today, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah, this has just started. This is just getting started. I think Investor Day was really a good showcase of this is just getting starting with the whole energy side of the business, robot side of the business, it's charging infrastructure. I think, there's just so much stuff. Because people are always asking me, don't you run out of things to say like in your videos? Like, not when it comes to Tesla, no. Like we're just getting started.
All right, well, great, Lars. Again, lovely to have you here. Hey, everybody, go to his channel, sign up for his channel, sign up for his Patreons, follow him on Twitter, do all that stuff. I'll make sure all of that information is in the information below. And, you can like this channel too, if you kind of liked what we just did. And Lars, see you again soon, we hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Randy.
All right, great.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.